Bunny Girl Senpai is the best anime from last year that you probably skipped, and the movie does not disappoint. Hey there, my name is Rex, and tonight I got to see the movie for Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, which is probably one of the worst names for an anime. But the movie itself is called Rascal Does Not Dream of a Dreaming Girl. It was a pretty good movie, I really enjoyed it, so the basic plot contains spoilers. But at the core of it, it of course follows all of the characters that we know and love. Chronologically, it technically does take place after the season 1 of the show ends. And the main plot focuses around the character of Shoko, who was introduced during the show. However, we didn't really dive deep into what her story was and what her experience or manifestation of the adolescent syndrome is. And this movie is basically just all about her. Well, of course, being about the other characters, but her struggle is the main focus of the movie. Of course, we get to see all of our familiar characters. Like I said, it takes place around Christmas, so it's super nice and everything, and it dives pretty deep into the feels. That's one thing that the show is kind of notorious for, or not notorious for, but I'll say this, the show is basically all characters and story, and it's very emotional, or it can get pretty emotional. I say very, but your mileage will differ depending on your tolerance for feels or story or drama. It is a character drama, most of the show, and a character study on, these different characters. Each character is segmented into an arc, and I shouldn't explain too much about the series if you haven't seen it. The movie itself is basically that. It's basically, if you really like the show and you're looking for maybe 3 more episodes, that's effectively what this movie is. Because typically that's kind of how it was. Each character's experience with adolescent syndrome, which is again basically some sort of supernatural manifestation of their internal struggles. Normally, each character's thing would last about 3 episodes. The first part with Mai in the anime lasts about 3 episodes. The second part with Koga lasts about 3 episodes, and so on and so on. So the movie, being movie length, basically 3 episodes, I feel that all really works out. And the end is interesting, because again, we are dealing with supernatural quantum physics kind of things. But I mean, overall, it's really nice. The downsides, I'd say, is this is a complaint that I kind of mentioned in my Saga of Tanya review, is that movies made based off of anime shows are basically just more of the show. And I did see the Danmachi movie earlier this year, and I did make a review about it, but it's basically sort of the same. The animation quality is just about the same. Maybe in some parts it's a little more improved, give or take. But for the most part, it is just more of the show. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I feel that I kind of made that come off as a bad thing during my Saga of Tanya review. It can become a big downside when the story isn't necessarily very important, when it kind of exists outside of the movie. And again, with the Danmachi movie, that's kind of a problem that it had. However, this movie, The Rascal Does Not Dream of a Dreaming Girl, which I don't know. I feel like the title might turn off a lot of people. This is very important and very significant. Again, it does talk about Shoko, and Shoko is actually a pretty important character in the series, and she's kind of given more importance in this movie. You're kind of told that she's important, and there are some hints of her importance. However, you don't exactly get a whole lot of it. Or, well, you sort of do with some of the flashbacks in the series. However, again, just her importance is fully realized in this movie. And, that's what I like. We kind of got to see every character. The movie is basically Sakata, Mai, and Shoko. Those 3 characters are focused more so on the movie. And of course, Fuda's there, which she's, great. Every character is likable, and every character is best girl. And I just want to be everybody's friends. Not even in a typical anime fan way. Hey, I just want to be everyone's friends. I want to support them all. And really, there's not much more I can say without getting into spoilers, aside from, music. The music is great. That's one of the things that is very important in a series like this, when it's very character focused, and when again it does get into some emotional stuff. The music is something that really plays a part into that, because music can elicit certain feelings within us, and especially when the music is played during sequences or just during the show in general. Hearing that music again will just trigger things in me to start feeling sad, or at least happy, or to start tearing up in some way. And this movie, definitely I did tear up during it. My eyes were not dry, mostly at the end with just how it ends. And again, that's a spoiler thing, but having the same music as the show is very beneficial. Now that said, why don't we talk a little about them spoilers? Basically, I'd say, if you're new to the movie, check out the first 3 episodes of the show. If you like that, keep going, watch the rest of the show, and then catch the movie if you can. Now, spoilers. Whoo boy, that was that was real spicy. Like I said, it plays into Shoko's importance, and Shoko is shown to be time traveling, which is pretty crazy. Well, I suppose we kind of saw some time travel with Koga's arc, or at least we saw a time loop. And now, in this movie with Shoko, we get to see some time travel, which is pretty interesting, and it kind of plays out in the way of, like, it has that weird time paradox in it, because when adult Shoko is comforting Sakura, or at least older Shoko is comforting Sakura in the flashbacks of the series, she says stuff like, really encouraging him, and it shows it here. She says something like, the best things you can say to a person are, thank you, you did a great job, and I love you. And so he's the one who then tells young Shoko that same thing. And so that makes sense in the way of, like, then when she grows up and older Shoko comes to comfort Sakura, she tells him that, but then he's the one who tells her that, who learns it. So it's that time paradox of, I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's basically where an object has no origin, and that the object in this case is that phrase. So unfortunately, that's something. But it's not like the whole series was really about that. I mean, it does use quantum physics to explain a lot of things, and watching this series will not only give you, like, the best feels, but it'll also make you just the biggest galaxy brain possible. But I mean, I suppose that's something you can throw aside. And the ending, I don't want to say that it was sort of a not necessarily Deus Ex Machina, but basically something kind of comes out of nowhere, and the whole part where Sakura is able to go back in time. But I suppose that makes sense, because okay, first of all, and this is where it really gets crazy, because we get all these timelines and everything, and I suppose I can forgive it, because again, the show isn't necessarily really strongly committed to the realism of a lot of these quantum mechanic, or these quantum this time stuff. But it does a pretty good job in serving the plot well, and with time travel, it can be weird, but overall, this is fine, because like I said, again, all of this is really, all the weird stuff that happens in the show is really unexplainable. They try to explain it, but it's all weird and supernatural anyway. The real importance of the show, again, is the characters and the story, and sort of the message that it gives you overall. And this message being one in this movie, specifically with Shoko's story, being one of that in that you shouldn't necessarily try to sacrifice yourself in a way, and that's sort of an issue that Sakura kind of has, like, in a sense, in that he neglects himself for the sake of others, and that's one of the things that's kind of at the forefront of some of the plot with this movie, sacrificing yourself for the sake of others. When in reality, the future is uncertain. Even if you're almost absolutely sure that this situation will turn out this way, maybe come to a conclusion that's best for everybody, right? Because and that's how it's presented, with him wanting to accept his fate, with Sakura wanting to accept his fate of dying, which again, we're talking spoilers here, but that's basically one of the things, right? Future Shoko comes and she says that she's kind of only alive because Sakura died, and that his heart that was transplanted into her allowed her to overcome her heart disease, so on and so on, stuff like that. So then now he's kind of tasked with this burden of, well, I guess I have to die so Shoko lives. But at the same time, by him neglecting himself, he's also neglecting Mai. And that's the main struggle in the movie, is that he kind of has to choose his future. Does he want a future with Mai where he and Mai are happy, or does he want a secure, for sure future where Shoko will live at his life's expense? And that's that's where it really comes in. And again, when he does try to be selfish, Mai ends up dying. So then nobody's really happy. And then then Mai's dead, and he's not happy, but Shoko lives. It gets real weird and crazy, but again, it's real powerful. But at the same time, though, when Mai dies in this movie, because she dies by trying to save Sakura from getting hit by a car. When that happens, there is the downside of like, yes, it has some big impact, but in your mind, you're thinking, no, there's no way this is how it's gonna end. There's no way this is what's gonna happen. So like your mind kind of keeps your heart from feeling what it should be feeling, I suppose. But at the same time, Shoko was still kind of left in the air of like, you know, her future's not really certain or not really secure. And that's kind of the main theme of the movie, at least, in that your future isn't really set in stone. So, I mean, overall, again, I really enjoyed it. I had been rewatching the series this week, and oh my gosh, I love it. It's good. I love this series. It's really good. If you haven't seen it, again, you know, maybe check out the first 3 episodes, and if you like it, keep going from there. But basically, that's all I can say about this. I don't think I give number ratings as often. Promare, I didn't exactly give a number rating, I don't think. This one, I'd say, if it needs an arbitrary number rating, it's an 8.5 out of 10 for me personally. Also for me personally, it's a feels out of 10, so take from that what you will. But overall, I really enjoyed it. If you happen to see it, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If there are any other upcoming anime movies you'd like me to check out, let me know. I'll try to catch them in the theaters when I can. I don't know, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we can talk and rant and stuff more. As you can see, I'm talking more anime now and a little more frequently. So I am trying to transition into an anime channel, but there will still be some Yu-Gi-Oh stuff this month. We'll be getting a deck profile, a very spooky one, and there will be some Yu-Gi-Oh anime stuff coming up. So again, let me know. And if you like this style, if you think I should stick with the choice of walking in the footsteps of YouTube people who wear sunglasses indoors because they're real insecure about themselves. But anyway, if you enjoyed the content, remember to leave a like, subscribe, show your support, all that cool stuff. Anyway, this has been Rex. Have a good day. Have a nice day is what I say. Have a nice day.